Welcome back to the spot, guys. It's time now for our top 5 of the day, and Lamide has one for us.
Top 5 time.
Top 5 time. What's the top 5, Zainab?
Top 5 party destinations.
That
For who?
international party destinations.
International
For
party
who?
destinations.
That have been,
Popularly
in recent times.
determined.
With who?
With the internet.
Anyway, at number 5
Well,
is
it's just a list of 5 places that are very popular that are known for partying and that have really great night spots and a good nightlife, etc., etc.
Let me hear it.
So these are the places.
number 5.
Yes.
Istanbul.
Yes. And people.
I
There's a
didn't
lot
know
of
that.
culture in Turkey, in Istanbul, but apparently the nightlife is extremely popular because literally clubs stay open like all night. You could be walking out at like 3, 4 a.m. and it's all lit up. It's beautiful. It's just spectacular.
I have to go to Turkey in 2015. It's on my...
To-do
It's not a bucket list, but it's my to-do list.
Yeah.
Because I know their visa restrictions are not so strong.
Yeah.
Like, if you have certain visas, you're allowed to
You
come
can
in and
go
get
in.
on arrival.
Yeah.
Okay.
And since this mint thing started, Mexico, Indonesia, Nigeria, Turkey,
Yeah.
it's not a strong partnership yet, but it's been muted a lot. I know there's been some sort of cooperation with the 4 countries, so we should visit it. And there's a direct flight
Yeah.
from Lagos to Istanbul.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
I know the Ankara UA is from there,
Okay. Thank you.
so think about it.
Number 4?
number 4 is Bangkok.
I'd love to party in Bangkok.
That name always makes me laugh.
I'm actually going there next year.
It's the funniest name in the world. Like,
No, it's not.
why? What would it? Why? Bangkok.
No, but why are you this way?
Bangkok.
Ponder that.
Stop it.
Number
But-
3,
Yes, go on.
Miami.
Welcome to Miami.
Bienvenido.
I feel like I could get tired of Miami, like, because every day
could get
is
tired
the
of anywhere, trust me.
same.
But
No,
no, it's
like,
really not.
Party
I don't think everywhere is the
wise,
same.
it's- I mean, I said every day is the same in Miami.
There's so many. There's actually a lot of things to do in Miami. Like, because I recently was there and it's beautiful. You can You can literally go to the beach in the morning and meditate, and you can go to the beach. No, I'm saying.
I tell her,
Ooh, that's
No, just go and just literally be just awed at the amazing
so that's
sunrise.
one of the many. I mean, you can do
But it's
that
a party-
anywhere.
No, I know. I'm saying the beach. Just looking at the beach and sunrise, it's just beautiful. You said there's not much to do.
No, I
Every
said
day
that.
is the same.
No, I said every
But
day.
it does have a very fantastic, nightlife. It's
Yeah.
But I feel
known
like
the world
that's
over
the story for most places. If you're going somewhere to go party, by the 4th day of partying, how much more energy do you have? So yeah, I mean it's known for its beaches, so that's what you would naturally go there for. You're not going there to gamble or,
Thanks,
Okay.
Pascal.
Number 2?
So number 2,
You're so rude.
Las Vegas.
Yes.
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. I think you should only go to Vegas for a couple of days, maybe 3 days, 4 days maximum. Then you have to
It's
leave.
a lot of money.
With a lot of money.
Or a lot
I
of
had
willpower.
so much.
It's one of those
fun
places
in
where you can't
Vegas.
just go to. Let me just go and hang out.
No,
If
and
you
you
have
need to
money,
go
you
with a
will
good
not
group
have
of
fun.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
go
think
out.
I'm going
love
to
it.
Vegas
Well,
on your
actually,
own.
you can go to Vegas on your own.
If you have a lot of money, you can have fun on your own.
Yeah, but the thing is
Yeah.
also that you don't necessarily have to gamble because of the like
You can go to a
for the shows.
You can
go,
go
just-
to the
I
beach
think it's the
party.
easiest
And
place to
there's
actually make
penny-
friends.
Whatchamacallit, you can actually, you don't have to have thousands and
Yeah.
tens of thousands of dollars. You can have, a few hundred and do like the penny,
Yeah.
things, whatever.
But
You can go to
can't
the
be going to Vegas on a
desert.
budget,
Yeah, you
man.
can go to the desert and do
Do the
like, a lot of different
ATVs.
activities. So Las Vegas is a very famous party town.
So you're going to Vegas to go and look at deserts.
And
What's
at
happened to
number 1.
what happened to Kano and
And at number 1,
all these places? Yeah.
Ibiza.
Ibiza, which is
It was,
very well
it
known
was
for the
almost like a rite of
clubbing.
passage, like
some point,
in
right?
especially in the UK when you just get into college, like
Like you're-
everyone
okay.
goes on holiday together at that point, and you either go to Malia in Greece or you go to Ibiza, where on the strip the girls are partying in like their underwear and stuff. It's
Isn't that where they
manic.
have all these random tattoo parlors? So you
Yes.
get tattooed when you're
That's,
drunk.
When you're
Magal-
drunk.
Is that Magaluf?
Magaluf,
Magaluf.
Magaluf, Tenerife, they
All of
they
those
do the
places.
same
You'll be
thing.
like, who wrote this in on my body? But you paid for it.
But I was drunk though. Anyway.
Yeah, it
But
doesn't
yeah,
count.
So those
does
are
it?
some interesting party destinations around the world. So you guys let us know which ones you've attended, which ones you've seen, visited, which you would like to go to, or if you even agree or disagree. We'd love to hear from you. It's time for us to get our guest in today.
Isn't it?
His
Yes, he is.
house.
Oh,
And
wow.
he is an actor
Mm-hmm.
and an entertainment consultant. Please welcome Mr. Mofe Duncan.
He has an actor's name.
Yes, he does.
He has a what name?
An actor's name.
Distinguished
An
actor's
actor's
name.
name.
Come in,
Mofe
don't be shy.
Duncan.
Did you bring presents?
No.
Okay, you can go back up. I kid.
No, but we do actually really like presents. on
Welcome,
this
welcome,
show.
welcome
Hello,
to the spot.
darling. Mwah. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Boss man. How are you?
How's the body?
Hanging in there.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Go to your
How are
seat.
you?
You go to your seat.
He's happy.
Is this
Oh,
me right
you
here?
smell.
Why
You
is it
smell
far? Why is it
nice.
far?
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. What is that?
It's Ralph Lauren.
Girls.
It's Ralph.
Very
Lauren.
modest of
It's
you.
a friend of mine. He just gave me his perfume.
Oh, Ralph, is
Ralph,
it?
yeah.
Good old
Ralph?
Ralph.
Ralph.
Meanwhile, you couldn't bring small biscuits. You couldn't bring it.
You don't
What's
eat biscuit, do you?
Shut up.
He's on a diet.
I'm not on a diet.
Oh, you don't want to
How's
die yet,
it
right? That's why
going?
he wants to beg.
Good one.
Then I'll be the terrible
How's it
person.
going, man?
Hanging in there.
What are we celebrating with a pink brooch or pink pin-up?
I see, I can explain.
That's why I asked.
You see, the whole thing, the whole, whatchamacallit, breast cancer thing, which happened last month. And unfortunately for me, I kind of lost my pin.
Oh.
So I got to acquire this one for a nice 5Gs. I'm like, I'm not going to just wait for
So you wait everywhere?
I'm telling you.
For how long are you going to do this?
For a couple of, well, maybe
Months?
for the end of the week.
Cool,
Hopefully.
cool. How's it going? How's you're in a lot of movies these days.
By the
Was
grace of God.
acting always in the plan? Because I think you started on radio, then TV.
Yeah.
And there's photography, isn't there?
And
Yeah.
photography, my first love. The thing is, acting hasn't always been in the plan. I've always been thrown in front of the camera when it comes to, back in the days, high school, come and act drama and stuff. And I found myself behind the camera directing. And I was walking past a set one time in Unilag, and one of the directors was like, come, fine boy, come and do this role. I'm like, okay, what's the plan? And he gave me this role, was Edge of Paradise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's really where it started from. And then I got a call after that, and then a call after that, and then a call
And
after
the
that.
calls kept coming.
I swear. I
And
don't
the
miss my
money
lecture
kept
that
rolling
day,
in.
Yes.
Bad guys.
All right, well, we're going to find out a little bit more about our guest and get into the topic of the day after this short break. So please stay tuned to the spot.
Welcome back to the spot, guys, and it's time for us to get into it with our topic of the day. It is World AIDS Day today, and in the spirit of that, our topic is AIDS, the silent killer. So it's a pretty heavy one.
Yeah.
I know it's silly to say that, everybody knows what AIDS is, but I don't think so. I think a lot of us have kind of acquired knowledge from different places and have created an idea of what we think AIDS is about and how you get it. So this is a way for us to not only educate you guys about, the real stuff, but let's define AIDS to begin with.
Okay.
So right here I have that AIDS is, there are two types of AIDS. That which is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, and the other which is acquired immune deficiency syndrome.
There's like two meanings for the acronym.
Yeah, the acronyms. So
Okay.
it's either acquired immunodeficiency or acquired immune deficiency syndrome. You can call it either. It's the same thing. It's still AIDS. Or
Okay.
and the way, when you acquire the disease, you don't get AIDS immediately. Of course, people contract HIV, which is human immunodeficiency, the human
Virus.
immunodeficiency virus.
Yeah.
And that's what develops into AIDS. And it's spread through a variety of ways, either through sexual contact with an infected person, sharing needles with an infected person, through transfusions of infected blood, or through an infected mother, which is mother to child.
Pregnancy.
Through breast milk.
Yeah.
So, and there are 3 stages of infection for HIV. One is acute infection or acute retroviral syndrome, which you can get flu-like symptoms about a month after you've been infected. The second is clinical latency. That's when HIV reproduces at lower levels. So that's when people who have HIV, then they're just living with the virus, basically. And the third is, of course, the last step, which is AIDS, when it develops into full-blown AIDS. And
Whenever I hear, World AIDS Day, I think has become like it's annual. And most people know about it now. Most people look forward to it, sort of, to, create awareness, have all of these walks and seminars and conferences and all of that. But for some reason, I feel like every time these things happen, we hear these things. What is AIDS? How you can get it? And all of that. Not a bad thing. There's probably always someone who's hearing it for the first time.
It's true.
But then my point is, I also know a lot of people who either don't think AIDS is a thing, or who think it's a white
not
man's
serious.
creation,
Yeah.
Exactly.
or it doesn't even exist.
Exactly.
So, is there what are we doing wrong to reach those sort of people? If you know what I mean, is there something we should be doing differently?
The thing is, I don't think we're doing anything differently. or we should be doing anything differently. The only thing we ought to improve on, like you said, is the awareness of these things.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about a man who works 3 or 4 jobs, who's probably underpaid. He can barely buy a bottle of stout for himself, and he goes home, and the first thing he wants to do is, you know, have intercourse with his wife.
Yeah.
And this is because, you know, I mean, I wouldn't exactly call it a poor man's disease, because that would not be correct.
Yeah, yeah.
But for a man who, let me choose a man who, sex is the only way he can gain his own
relaxation,
leisure. You
So
know,
he's
I mean,
careless about it.
exactly, he gets careless about it, and before he starts looking at how to go and think of how to buy a condom, which he probably can afford,
Yeah.
it's a bit too late. And of course, the awareness also is for the young ones, for the young people who are just coming up, who feel they are invulnerable. You know, I mean, they have a count of, well, I've only had sex with like 2 or 3 people, so I'm cool. No, that's all. Those kind of people also need to be reached out to, because that is the problem that we face: the awareness of the disease. Everybody knows about AIDS. Your parents tell you about it every time. Your dad says, strap up. You know what I mean? I mean, I remember when I was young, my father would just, on my 18th birthday, he started giving me a packet of condoms every day.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Every day?
I said every month, like he's
Yeah,
a doctor.
Wow. Oh,
So when I'm going for
okay.
my monthly salary, I just say, son, take Biko, don't be stupid.
Yeah.
And that was his way of telling me, strap up. So that is one way.
I know you have a very cool dad, actually. So I just thought to mention that.
So that's one way. But what about the other guys who don't know about these
Yeah.
things? I mean, what about the father the man who sees, the boy who sees his father with different women?
Women.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it's, we haven't quite found a way to educate, you know, from the root up.
Exactly.
A lot of our parents or the, you know, the older generation don't like to talk about these things.
Yeah.
We say, don't have sex, it's bad for you. Why
Or
is
don't
it
get
bad for me,
pregnant.
ma'am?
Like
Mom,
for the
yeah.
ladies,
For the ladies, don't get pregnant.
pregnant.
AIDS is bad for you.
Yeah.
But why? We're not sitting down to have these conversations. And then when you put up the ideas of actually having, you know, putting it into the academic system, then parents kind of get a bit,
Yeah.
we get a bit
It's a
touchy
touchy
about it, because
subject,
it's like,
yeah.
why
Yeah.
should you be the one to teach my child about this? But young people have a lot of questions, and they will go to anywhere that they can get some sort of answers.
I think
It'll
for-
be the
for a
web.
lot of- For a lot of people, going from the question I asked you, is people still don't have a face to AIDS,
Yeah.
especially in Nigeria.
Right.
You still have a lot of people who have it, and then as soon as they find out they have it, they withdraw from, or they never talk about it,
Yeah.
or they just go and die off without necessarily wanting to treat it even.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, America, for example, Magic Johnson is like the poster boy for it. So you can actually see someone who's lived the last 20, 30 years with it and is still alive. But here you just hear statistics and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
who are these people
Who are
anyway?
these people anyway?
Yeah.
Nigeria has the second highest prevalence in the world by numbers.
Yes.
But
And that's high.
when you
But
put
low
that,
percentage.
with
Yeah.
population, it's about 3% of population. But
we
in
have
numbers,
a lot
that's
of
about, I don't know, 3-4 million, well, almost 6 million people
Yeah.
living with AIDS, HIV/AIDS in Nigeria today. There's even a state-by-state breakdown, but we'll probably come back to that when we go for a break
Yeah.
and see where your state lies and what you should be doing differently. So we'll take a quick break now and be right back with more. Please stay with us.
Welcome back. You guys are still watching The Spot. Hopefully you've been joining in on the conversation via Twitter, Facebook, and of course, you know, you can always send us an email and check us out as well on YouTube. Now today, as we said, is World AIDS Day, and we are talking about AIDS, the silent killer, with our guest, Mofe Duncan. So we were talking just before the break about statistics and things like that, and I thought it's very interesting to note that in Africa, so sub-Saharan Africa actually accounts for almost 70% of global new HIV infections, which is a staggering number and really, really quite scary.
Yeah.
And HIV in new infections in Africa, the highest number of new infections in Africa is actually in Southern Africa. So South Africa has the highest prevalence rate of new HIV infections. And when you come down to West Africa, it's a lower prevalence rate. But as Ebuka said just before that, Nigeria actually accounts for a lot in terms of numbers, but low in terms of population. But because we just have so many people, it ends up being a lot of people living with HIV and getting infected as time goes on. So you had some information.
Yeah, so I just got there's 36 states in Nigeria, right? So there's a list of, you mentioned, you know, it being sort of, not necessarily a poor man's disease, but, you know, maybe literacy and all of that also affects.
affects.
So the top 5 here is actually interesting because it's a mix of supposedly urban states and not so urban ones.
Oh, wow.
Number 1 is Benue State.
Oh, thank God. I'm not.
Oh, thank God. It's not you. But number 1 is Benue State with 12% prevalence rate. Then Akwa Ibom
Okay.
with 10.9. Then Bayelsa with 8.7. Then Anambra with 8.6.
Wow. So just
And Abuja
wow.
with 8.6. Cross River is at 7.1%, which is where we are.
Yeah.
Lagos is somewhere in the middle, 5%.
Okay.
Where's Delta State?
Delta is at 4.1.
Which is really quite
Yeah.
low.
So, but I mean, Benue, Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Anambra. The lowest is Kebbi, 1%. And Ekiti, they're both 1%, which is very impressive.
It
Quite
makes me wonder
impressive.
what
This statistic, by the way, about 2012. So it's probably
Yeah,
higher now
it's
or
really
lower,
high
I don't
now,
know,
yeah.
but it's
Okay.
2012,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
I'm just
So 2
wondering
years
what the
ago.
difference is like in actions towards.
Yeah, some states have, some states do more grassroots
Yeah.
drives
Activation.
for sex education, and then some states don't do much in terms of awareness. Some states might make people aware and also provide them tools. So there's a difference in telling someone, hey, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. And there's a difference in saying, don't do this, don't do that, do that. But here are some condoms and here is this. And we also have, you know, because apparently also one of the newest, not so new, but newest ways that people are really focusing on now is mother-to-child transmission of HIV.
Yeah.
And that actually accounts for a large number nowadays of how, you know, the newborns contract
getting
HIV.
infected.
So there are ways to prevent that. You know, as soon as if an HIV positive mother takes antiretroviral drugs, ARTs, there is actually a way to make sure that the newborn
Reduce the chances.
Yes, reduce the chances of the newborn contracting, and of course, when the child is born, avoiding breastfeeding and things like that to make sure that the child has the
better
best possible
chance.
chance to become HIV or to be HIV negative.
Negative.
So some states actually have.
Yeah.
Some states in Nigeria that actually do
Have
that
like a
mother-to-child
serious drive.
transmission thing to make sure that at least, even if the mother already had it and was pregnant,
They can
then
do
the
it.
child can be safe.
It's a good angle, and it brings me back to when I was doing this whole breast cancer awareness thing. And because I did a research, and of course, coming from a medical family, it's always in the living room when they're talking. And the reason why they could somewhat battle this thing is because a lot of people started coming out with it.
Yeah, talking
Talking
about
about it.
more. Yeah.
You know, they gave free breast cancer screening, you know, absolutely free. They even made it a sort of a joke saying husbands should
check their wives.
check their wives,
Yeah,
you know, fondle, you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So this is another angle for this, and this is why some of the states, like you mentioned, also have a good, I mean, or have low rates.
Yeah.
Because I mean, well, if you look at those states that you have, I mean,
Yeah.
Benue,
Benue,
Bayelsa.
Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Anambra, FCT.
I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, but these states have really pretty women. I mean, it's not a prerequisite.
it's not a
It's not a prerequisite. I'm just gonna ask.
Some of them have a reputation.
Have a reputation.
Yeah, but I don't know if that is enough.
The reputation
say.
to their
Yeah.
attitude
It's not
towards
enough. But
sex.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask a question based on that.
Yeah.
Is it also a sex thing? I mean, like gender-based problem?
Yeah.
Because if you have, I mean, some states produce more beautiful women than other states. I mean, no offense to Ekiti State, but you get them.
Wow.
There
Ebuka,
isn't
stop
enough
now.
research.
You can't
making it
buy some
funny.
Ekiti.
Oh no, she's hot.
Who's the Ekiti?
Ekiti and Akwa Ibom actually.
Who's that?
Kemi Adesiwa.
Okay.
But you get my point
I
anyway.
get your
You get my point. Okay, just
Yeah.
just.
I think what is interesting for me in the statistics, I just counted 20 states have a higher prevalence rate than the national average. Even
okay.
Lagos does. The national average is 3%.
Yes.
But these are states that have from 4 up. And that's a lot of people.
So
Niger,
yeah.
Delta, Gombe, Lagos, Kaduna, Enugu, Edo, Borno, Taraba, Kogi, Rivers, Cross River, Abia, Nasarawa, Plateau. Wow.
Yeah. But I mean,
think
I think awareness is the key, really.
Yeah.
awareness,
Yeah.
Awareness
yeah.
is the
A
key.
lot of countries are trying to do that.
I was just going to touch on the MTV Sugar series,
Okay.
Oh
which
yeah.
is, you know, it's another current and popular way to kind of raise awareness. And I like the way that they've kind of been very consistent with not only having a good storyline, but just pushing for a message. And they actually travel around like Africa with the team,
Yeah.
pushing the message and just educating people.
Yeah.
So if we can, they obviously found a way to communicate with younger folks. So
That
if we
works.
can find like, something similar or something different that just helps people
I also think something
get
we should,
better acquainted.
someone we should commend a lot, a country we should commend a lot is actually Uganda. Sometime in, I think 2011, 2012, they actually had a reduction in prevalence.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And it was over time, they had actually worked towards it.
Yeah.
I don't know what the president or the government or the health ministry did, but I feel like a lot of these countries, Nigeria, South Africa, Botswana, these are countries that continue to have a lot of cases. They should go find out what was done, if it was ground staff, if it was whatever it was. I mean, we handled Ebola here with such gusto, if I may use that word.
If we did the
Because
same
we
thing for
thought
everything
because we thought it
else.
was scary. People look at AIDS and think, okay, which is why nobody really takes it seriously.
Yeah.
If we took it as seriously as we did things like this, all it took is go around and
You're
find out who
absolutely
this is and
correct.
make sure
Absolutely
people hear
correct.
from you directly.
Absolutely
I
correct.
mean, I'm not saying scare people out, but I mean,
No, scare people.
yeah, because
It's
people
fear.
should know.
Shock
People should
tactics
know
We
work.
need
that.
to scare people
People
because
should
they
know
don't
that
think it's a
it
real
kills,
thing.
yeah.
And they need to know that it's really real, because you mentioned Uganda has gone down.
Yeah.
Over time, even though their prevalence rate is still high,
Yeah.
Kenya has reduced from 14% to 6%. But that was the last survey taken in 2012,
Yeah.
2013. Madagascar is actually very, very low, 0.5% prevalence
Oh,
rate.
wow.
Wow.
And Mauritania has maybe let me make sure. Mauritania has 1.2%. Those are very low prevalence rates. And I feel like we as a continent are not asking we're not taking
Yeah,
advantage
find
of
out what's
we're right
happening
next
there.
door to some of each other. Like, I
Also,
mean,
yeah.
like,
Just
okay,
ask.
what are you doing and how are you making sure? Because this is the future. When young people have AIDS, what are you saying?
It's
They
bad.
don't have as much of a future as many other people because they're already starting out sort of disadvantaged.
Yeah, it's true. And another problem I think that, we as young Nigerians face is the fact that, you look at our forefathers, the elder ones, a lot of our uncles and aunties have 7 kids, 8 kids. You're like, uncle, you've done it now, and you survived, so why you tell me not to abstain, or why you tell me not to have kids, or why you tell me to strap up?
Sex is a very lax. We don't talk about it. I think there's a
True.
lot. There's
It's a
a
touchy
lot still
topic.
to do.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about and a lot to learn, but we're going to go on another break, guys, and we'll be right back after this on the spot.
Welcome back to The Spot, and we are still talking about AIDS, the silent killer, in the spirit of World AIDS Day. And I think it's time for us to just share some tips on prevention and just helping to reduce the risk of catching HIV AIDS. So the most obvious one is condom use,
Okay.
which a lot of guys and some women don't like to use, but they argue
I like how
that
you said a lot of guys and some women.
yes,
A lot of guys and a lot of
they
women.
argue that it doesn't feel good, it doesn't make the whole process enjoyable. But
Natural.
would you rather live or have great sex? Make up your mind. I think it's
a
better
good
to be
angle.
I'm
alive.
sorry, you can have great sex with I don't understand that whole, there's a
You
difference
can,
maybe,
Lamide?
but I don't believe that you feel nothing. That's ridiculous. Yeah. And it's just an excuse.
But hang on a second. It's a good angle. But what about the women or the guys who would say, look, if you love me, then you wouldn't use a condom?
Then
If
they
he
don't
loves
love you.
you-
That's not love.
Trust me.
If he
That's a
loved
murderer.
and trusts
What about
you,
those
he
guys
would
that-
want to protect you and keep you safe.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
wearing
That's not
a
a murder.
condom.
HIV is not a death sentence, Lamide.
HIV is not a death sentence, but you can also avoid getting it. Why do you
No,
need
you said murder.
to
That's
then,
where I'm coming from. That's all.
if somebody
need to talk to
tells
those
you if
guys.
you love me, pardon?
We need to talk to those guys, those kind of people.
If somebody cares about you and tells you, that's manipulative, first of all. And yes,
you.
it's murder because at the end of it, you still have a significant amount of interruption in your life. You have pills now that you have to take.
Yeah.
You're going to have to pay for all this stuff.
Gonna
This is
have to
all
deal
the
with
stuff
the
that you could have
stigma.
avoided.
Yeah.
So anybody that's going to tell you, oh, if you love me, you're going to have sex with me without a condom is a manipulative, lying, horrible human being who you should kick
No.
out of your life immediately, please.
Do you hear that?
Thank you.
Unless you're
Yeah.
married to them.
If you're married to them, you might
Get-
kick him out too
yes,
because
get
that's a
rid of
real
them
that's
too.
a real killer.
So wait, if you're married, you would still...
Use
If
protection
you-
with your
No, I'm
condom.
saying if
There,
he
do you know
already
what? There are
has
different
HIV,
forms of protection,
Oh.
right?
if he already has HIV,
Not just
Yeah.
condoms.
okay.
There's the rings for the women. There's the
There's the female
pills.
condom.
There are
Oh,
so
you
many
mean
options
you mean
for the women.
Okay.
For their own
Yeah,
protection.
for their
For
own
their own
protection. But it's better
There's
to be
Kung Fu as
safe
well. Yeah.
than sorry.
Very
The
true.
next other one that I have here is abstinence.
Yeah. Which is what most of the time people preach.
Yeah.
Just don't do it.
Just
have
don't.
sex.
Just don't do it.
Don't
If
think
you
about
have
it.
to do it, then use a condom.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes I feel like actually that's a bit, it's one of the things that we just say, we don't talk about it, we just say, just don't do it. So it's kind of like a block. Not saying that people shouldn't abstain, but I'm saying that some people use abstinence as the only thing they teach their children
children.
or
Because it's
younger
the
people.
safest.
Exactly.
Because it is the safest. It is the safest. If you don't do anything, you won't catch anything.
Exactly.
But if someone is curious and they're growing up and they're getting urges, then I don't see what's wrong in saying, you know what, if you feel like you absolutely have to, please be safe. Just don't give
Which is what
yourself
my dad told me.
a problem, you know. Yeah.
But still on the abstinence thing, I mean, a lot of people would argue that, a lot of parents would say, look, I'd rather send my children to same-sex school or co-ed, but doesn't this make them a bit...
Like more eager to find
Thank you.
out about
Yeah,
sex
like,
and
you
not
know.
Because the
not
more
be
you,
turned for it.
yeah.
withdraw from it?
I mean, there's that theory to a lot of things, but then I mean, I just think having the discussion is important. I've never been a
Talking about
parent,
it.
and I know a lot of parents say it's actually not a very easy conversation to have. I mean, you're looking at your 12-year-old daughter,
It's awkward.
and you don't want to be talking about sex with her, but
Yeah.
you know you have to do
In
it.
this day and age,
you know,
you
so it's
gotta.
something. It's a difficult conversation to have, but we're at an age where you have to have that discussion.
You
Yeah.
have to.
If not, she would have the discussion with her friends
Yeah.
or with an older man somewhere, and you would never know what happened after that. So
Yeah.
Good point.
it's your duty.
Good point.
Definitely. All right,
Then
guys. Well, it looks like, you know, we've been talking kind of a heavy topic right now, but hopefully, you know, you guys have gleaned some stuff from it. We're going to take a little bit of a switcheroo right now and take a look at our Monday fitness segment with Adura. So let's check that out.
Hi, welcome to Monday Fitness with Adura. We're coming at you from Central Fitness in Central Lekki Mall, Lekki Phase 1, Lagos. Today, I'm going to show you how you can make your workouts more interesting with what you have at home. The first thing I'm going to show you is gliders. This is it's multifunctional. You can use it for leg exercises, core exercises, but for today, I'm going to show you 2 exercises that you can work your core with. Balls of your feet on the gliders. Extend your legs. Just going to bring your knees to your chest and draw back. Okay, again, to the chest, draw back. Now notice I'm keeping my core engaged. I'm not letting my hips drop down. That's a squat thrust. The second exercise is called a mountain climber. From here, you alternate the legs instead. Notice the control. Both exercises are great for your core. I'm going to show you how to use towels, just basic towels, on a hardwood floor. Extend the legs to the back. Same thing again, bring both knees under the chest and back. Again, under, back. All right, second exercise, mountain climbers, alternating legs. Go, left, right, left, right, one more time, left and right. Okay, back on the knees, and we're done. And next is a great replacement for dumbbells. You see Cynthia has dumbbells here, and I have 2 bottles filled with sand. We're using sand because sand is heavier than water. The bigger your bottle, the heavier the weight. So you can use these for any dumbbell exercise you can think of, from shoulder presses to tricep kickbacks to bicep curls, which are great for Christian mother arms. And just to make you stronger, I'm gonna start from here, put it up and down, and again, and down, okay? Shoulder presses. Second exercise, bicep curls. Give you those guns. Get Michelle Obama arms. Hold your tummy in, keep your shoulders back, and keep your elbows stuck to your sides. From here, you lift your arms up, hands to shoulder height, bring it down, and again up and down. A great way to combine these 2 exercises is to do the shoulder presses, 10 repetitions, then 10 bicep curls, then you rest for 30 seconds, and then you go again. And that's it for this week. For more, check me out on www.adura-o.com or come find us here at Central Fitness at Central Lekki Mall in Lekki Phase 1, Lagos. Until next time, stay active. Bye.
Are you an
Alright,
active
excellent
person?
tips there. Yeah, very expert.
Yeah, like exercise and stuff.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Fit fam.
Pause.
It's part of, it's long story. Listen, I have a role that I'm supposed to do, and I'm supposed to be fit.
Okay.
So I find myself walking and stuff.
What is this role?
For sexy.
But let me ask you,
beastie man.
who's your favorite on-screen kiss ever?
Oh, who he has kissed. Oh.
Screen kiss. Oh, it's got to be B-Ray. Oof.
Was it because it was long or she was just that good?
What?
Was it long or she was just that good?
On the said day of shooting, you know, we had shot a scene where I got slapped. So the evening was the kiss. It was like an apology kind of kiss. Oh, she did well.
Girl, you kiss well.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
gonna go on a break. See you in just a moment, guys.
Welcome back to the spot. It's our final segment on the show today, but we're going to just finish off our discussion on AIDS, just run through the final preventative measures,
Yes.
and then get a final word from everybody. Zainab, you are reading through?
Yes. So for somebody who has HIV and has a partner that's not negative, there are actually certain pills that you can take to help reduce the chances of passing it over. And one of them
Partner
is
who's negative or not negative?
If you have HIV,
if you have HIV and
you
your
have an
partner,
HIV negative partner.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. She said
So
not
one
negative,
person-
so I was trying.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So the first being the pre-exposure prophylaxis.
Yes.
And then you can also take the post-exposure prophylaxis for the HIV for somebody who has.
If you've been exposed
Yeah,
to it.
if you've been
so
exposed.
If you find out maybe that somebody that you just slept with is HIV positive, you can actually take a post-exposure prophylaxis. So it's a medicine that
There's
you
a
take
window.
there's a window. And then the sooner you can, it's sort of like the morning after pill, so 24 to 72 hour window. But as soon as you can take it, then the better for you. The better.
So who
chances
takes
you
it?
have
The
to-
person who's
the
negative? or
person who's
negative.
negative.
Yes, the person who's negative.
Then
Wow.
there's circumcision
Yes,
Which
circumcision
reduces the risk.
for men reduces the risk.
of infection by 60%.
Completely reduces everything.
No, by
No.
60%.
They didn't say go and have a
No,
phone spree.
Okay.
Ha.
Right.
60% reduction of risk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And of course, the elimination of mother-to-child transmission of HIV, which we spoke about earlier, which is the antiretroviral drugs, and of course the not taking the mother's breast milk.
Yeah.
So
Sad.
there's lots of different ways, but of course, you guys can always read up on it and just do some more research. It's very, very
And
important
also,
to be in the
I
know.
always feel like, ask a lot of questions. I know that one of the most life-changing moments for me was when I met someone who had HIV, and that was when I did Big Brother 8 years ago. Now, we had it wasn't World AIDS Day, but we had an AIDS Day sort of awareness thing that we had like a task on the show. So the guys from the Nigerian AIDS whatever came, and there were like 4 other people came with them to speak to us, NGOs and all of that. And we had like a whole hour of talks, question and answer. And when we were about to leave, one of the ladies stood up and said, "Oh, I'm actually HIV positive." Before then, I was one of those people who, so my heart actually literally jumped out of my, I'm like,
What?
and I've hugged her, I'd shaked her and everything. She was like, "Well, I wanted you to understand that I'm human. The fact
Which
that
is
I
good.
have it doesn't mean, if I told you before that, you probably wouldn't have listened to anything I had to say today." So it was
Such a
nice
good
to
idea.
break that barrier first. And from then, I think I started understanding, it's, told us her story. She was married, her husband gave it to her, was cheating and gave it to her. He passed away, but she's still alive now. She doesn't have AIDS, she has HIV. I think she's still alive up till now. So, so if those moments like that, when you realize that it's, as much as it's not something anybody wants to have, it's not a death sentence.
Yeah.
So care also does help, with
Talking,
people who have it, and so
Definitely. And it's
ask
important.
questions. If you know medical personnel, just reach out and ask them. What is this about? What should
Talk
I be
about
doing?
it.
Yeah.
Parents talk about it with their kids. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Once things like that are humanized, it's a little less scary for them.
Yeah.
Because the stigma is a big part of what actually
Yeah.
also kills. It's important to make sure that we don't stigmatize people who have it.
Yeah.
Some people, unfortunately,
At no fault of their own.
yeah, through no fault of their own, get the disease. And even if it is, if you have it, it doesn't make you less of a person or a bad person. It just means you have a disease. And so it's important for us to engage and to understand that it's not something that you can catch by,
By touching
or
or
something like
hugging.
that.
It's not Ebola.
And it's not Ebola, exactly. So
Taking
it's
selfies
just
and
one of
stuff.
those things that, is dangerous, yes. It can be prevented, and the most important thing is to make sure that you know how to prevent it, in your own life and in the lives of the people that you can reach in your own community.
All time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any more thing you want to add?
No, not at all.
Stay safe, guys.
Yes, stay
Yeah.
Strap up.
safe, stay educated.
Stay educated. Yeah.
Google it. It's free.
Google it.
It's free online.
Exactly. Well, I guess it's time for us to go now.
Before we go, I must say that you guys are doing very good. You know,
Thank
I really watch this show and
Is that you trying to tell us you want to come back sometime again soon?
It might be.
Ebuka, you know I love you. You always get me.
We'll think about it. We'll think about it.
Thank you for coming
Thanks for coming,
over.
actually. You
Not a
were
problem, no
You were a smart one, at least you. You gave us a few pointers there. No,
Wow.
Yeah, he dissed a few people in the process, but it's okay.
People are coming for you, Sha. That's what I have to say. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you later.
Please sign our wall of fame.
Lovely. There we go.
There's chalk in the blue thing.
We'll get a whole paragraph on this one line.
No,
No, don't waste it. Happy birthday, Kamsi.
What's wrong?
My nephew. It's in 3 days, though. But I feel like I'll forget. Love you.
Love you, Kamsi.
Happy birthday,
Kamsi, bad guy.
My friend's son is
He had a nickname when he was young, but I can see it on TV.
What was it?
Because it wasn't very expensive. And the other one.
Wow, this is the new Nokia.
Ebuka, just move a little bit to the left. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Look.
I can smell you.
Why are you hitting my friend? What's wrong with you?
I'm a woman beater. I will brush you.
I will brush you back.
The Spot was brought to you by I'm Still Malta.